Good morning. Welcome to English class. Let's go ahead and get started. We are going to be talking about a very important man in history. His name was Martin Luther King Jr. Every year in January in America, we even have a holiday to celebrate him, and it's normally on around the day of his birth, which was January 15th, 1929. Now, we weren't really able to celebrate it on that particular day, but he's still a very important man that I want you guys to learn about, and so we're going to spend some time talking about him today. But first, go ahead and watch this video that explains a little bit more about him and his life.
Dr. King, a leader and a hero. Do you recognize this man? People all over the world know his face. They know his name. Now you will too. This is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and he was an American hero. Dr. King was born in Atlanta, Georgia on January 15, 1929. That was more than 90 years ago. Here's a picture of Martin when he was 6 years old. He loved riding his bike, playing baseball, and eating ice cream. Martin's best friend was a boy who lived nearby, but that changed one day when his friend told him they couldn't play together anymore. His friend was white, and Martin was black. His friend's father didn't want his son playing with a black child. This made Martin sad and angry. He didn't understand why he couldn't play with his friend. During that time, there were laws in parts of our country that kept white people and black people apart. Keeping people apart like this is called segregation. The law said that black people and white people had to go to different schools, parks, and restaurants. The schools and parks for black people were often old and run down. The schools and parks for white people had newer books and better playgrounds. In some states, black and white people were not allowed to use the same water fountains and bathrooms. Buses were segregated too. When Martin was all grown up, the laws hadn't changed. He and many other people knew these laws were unfair, and the laws made him very angry. But he was a peaceful man. He did not want to use violence to change the laws. So what did he do? Dr. King used his words. He wrote letters, newspaper articles, and even books. He wanted to persuade people to end segregation. He organized marches. He led big groups of people as they walked through streets. They all thought the laws were wrong. Other people saw these marches and began to ask themselves, are these laws really fair? Dr. King also gave speeches. He spoke in front of thousands of people. In 1963, Dr. King gave his most famous speech at a big march in Washington, D.C. He talked about his dreams for the future. He said he believed that someday the world would be a better place.
My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Dr. King's words made people feel hopeful. When he spoke, the crowd cheered and clapped. Some people cried and hugged each other. They also believed the time had come for things to change. His dream helped other people dare to dream too. There were still some people who didn't want the laws to change. They were angry with Dr. King for trying to change them. They tried to hurt him and his family, That was scary. But Dr. King was brave. He didn't let those people stop him. He kept working. He knew he was doing what was right. Dr. King was a great leader. He inspired many people. He made them feel brave and strong. He made them believe that together they could make a change. It can be hard for one person to change the world on his or her own. But when thousands of people work together, they can make a big difference. And they did. It took a long time, but the laws of segregation did finally change. Dr. King's leadership and hard work helped make the world a better place. Dr. King is no longer with us. Still, people remember him and continue his good work. We celebrate him every year in January on his birthday. On this day, we take time to think about his life and what he did for our country. But you can celebrate him every day. You can spread his message of love, peace, and fairness by treating others with kindness and respect.
All right, so now you have a little introduction to Martin Luther King Jr. So I want to review some of the things that happened in his life because you have a timeline that you're going to complete today. So I need you to find this in your packet. Go ahead and pull that out. It says Martin Luther King Jr. Timeline. So these are some of the important events in his life. Now I have up here on the board a timeline. My timeline up here is bigger than the one you have here, but it has all of the dates that are here. It just has some extra. What you're going to need to do for this timeline is cut out each square and glue it onto the correct date. So these squares here are not in order. You need to find where they should go. So this one says he gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. So you need to figure out what year that was and put it there. So let me talk through some of the important dates in his life so that you can do the timeline. So we know that Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15th, 1929. And he was very, very smart. He was such a quick learner. He skipped both 9th and 11th grades. So he went from 8th grade to 10th grade. And then from 10th grade, we have one more year. He went to 12th grade. And then he went to college when he was only 15 years old. Now he was studying to be a pastor. In his third year of college, he decided to become a Baptist pastor. And while he was in college, he met a young lady named Coretta Scott. And in 1953, Martin Luther King Jr. married Coretta Scott. Then, a year later, in 1954, he became a pastor. He was only 25 years old at this time. 1 year after that, something happened. A woman named Rosa Parks, she was a black woman living in Montgomery, Alabama. She decided she was going to stand up for her rights as a black woman. And instead of sitting in the part of the bus that was only for black people, she sat in the part of the bus that was for white people. She got arrested for doing that. Oops, sorry, I knocked over the ruler. She got arrested for doing that. Can you imagine? And so because of what happened, Martin Luther met with several other civil rights leaders. These were men who were looking to get more equality for people who were black. And they met together and decided that they were going to do something called a bus boycott. And Martin Luther King Jr. was the leader of the bus boycott, where they would not go on these city buses because of how they were treating black people. And it was very unfair how they treated them just for the color of their skin. And so he was the leader of this boycott. And it went on for over a year. And like our video said, people became very angry with Martin Luther, and they tried to kill him. They tried to do all kinds of horrible things to Martin Luther, but he didn't let that scare him. And even still, he kept the people who followed him from becoming violent, from being mean and nasty. He said, everything that we're going to do peacefully, con paz, because that's important. Because he wanted to show the love of Jesus to other people. He may not agree with them, but he was still going to show them God's kindness. In August of 1963, he had the opportunity to give his very famous I Have a Dream speech, where he spoke to everyone about his dream for equality in America, for everyone, whether you're Black, whether you're white, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're Chinese, everyone should be able to have the same equal rights where you live. This speech was a huge step forward, so they were able to pass several acts that helped make things a little bit better, make things more equal for people who were Black. And in 1964, a year after this speech, he was given the Nobel Peace Prize. This prize is given to people who work to change things that are not right in the world, but they do it peacefully. Then, sadly, there were still people who did not like what Martin Luther King Jr. was doing. They didn't like that he was making things equal for people who were Black. And so, on April 4th, 1968, outside of his hotel room, he was shot and killed. And that's a very, very sad thing. But even though his life ended so sadly in that he was killed by someone, and he was not very old, he was only around 39 years old, not old at all. But despite all that, God used Martin Luther King Jr. to make a lot of change in America. And places around the world have followed the example that Martin Luther King Jr. set. So after you do your timeline, there's one more thing that you have to do today. You're going to make this little poster that says, I have a dream. And this shows that no matter what the color of your skin is, whether you have dark skin or light skin, we should be able to work together to do good things for God. So what you have, the first thing that you need to do is on this paper right there, you have it, it's not cut out, so you have it on a whole sheet of paper. You're going to need to write there 3 sentences. You can write more than 3, but no less than 3 sentences telling me about your dream to make this world a better place. What do you dream to make this world a better place? I'll read you mine so you have an example. I have a dream that every boy and girl I meet will know that they are loved by God and accept Him as their Savior. I dream that these boys and girls will grow up to make great changes for God wherever He leads them. I dream that this world will make God important to them again. So then you're going to cut that out and you're going to glue it onto the very, very bottom of this black piece of paper. Okay, so you want to glue it down there all the way down to the bottom. Okay? You can add color to the frame if you want to make it more interesting. Now you have 2 pieces of paper that are the color of the hands, but yours don't have the hands cut out, mine do because I've already cut it out. But you have these 2 rectangles of paper, dark and light, and then you have 2 hands on these pieces of paper. What you need to do is cut them out. So cut out your white hands, all right? Then you're going to lay it over top of your pieces of paper, and you're going to take your pencil and draw around your hand on the paper. Then you'll have an outline of the hand on this paper, and you can cut it out with your scissors. Then you'll do the same thing with the next piece of paper, but change hands. Use the different hand. Okay, so you have 2 hands. You'll use one for one paper, then you'll take the other one, cut it out, and use it for the other paper. Okay, so it should be facing the opposite direction. You'll draw around it and then cut it out. Okay, then you've already glued your white piece of paper to your black piece of paper. So you'll take the hands and see the direction that they're going. So you need to make it so that the slanty part on the bottom points out. Put it right here on the edge of your white piece of paper and do the same thing with the other hand. Okay, the fingers at the top will overlap. You also each have a heart piece of paper. You'll need to cut out your heart piece of paper, color it. You can color it pink, red, purple, whatever you'd like. and then you're going to glue it to the top of your hands. So I have a dream. And don't forget to put your name on the bottom of your paper. Now, you do not need to send this project in to me with your packet. Just send me a picture when it is finished. All right, that is it for today. Let me know if you have any questions about what you're supposed to do. I love you guys very, very much. Have a wonderful day. Bye.